Hello there, welcome back to one of my cooking videos. I hope you enjoyed the previous ones. If you do like this type of thing, please do like, subscribe, give it the old thumbs up, do appreciate it. Today's dish I'm doing for the both of us, I'm going to be cooking a good old-fashioned cowboy pie, or also known as a sausage and bean pie. Now this is going to be a budget version. I'm using all the budget ingredients and I've got it down to under 75 pence per portion, which ain't bad really. When you think most kids love sausages, beans, what kid doesn't love sausage and beans? Our kids did. I think most kids love sausage and beans. It's going to be a very quick, easy, cheap meal to do. If you want to do it for more people, just double the ingredients or quadruple them, whatever, because I'm doing it for 2 people. Now, why it's called a cowboy pie, I don't know, but this day and age, is it right to call it a cowboy pie? I mean, you might offend some people, so cow person pie? What if you offend the cow people? I know, let's call it a bovine pie, or bovine person pie. How about that? Let me know if you think that's a bit stupid or what. Anyway, enough of this stupidity and waffling. Let's see what ingredients we're using this week for this cheap and cheerful cowboy pie. Sausage and bean pie. Let's call it what it is. Let's get on over here. What am I using for this week's recipe? This cowboy pie, also known as sausage and bean pie. So I'm doing a budget version, less than 75p a portion. So what have we got? So I'm using 500 grams there of potatoes, which I've cubed up so they cook quicker. I'm using 4 budget sausages. Now it's 2 sausages per person, so I'm using 4 budget sausages, and I've just gently sliced those up. Hopefully they're going to taste okay. Now if you want to make more expensive, use premium sausages and more expensive ingredients, so it's entirely up to you, but I'm doing a budget version which is all budget like ingredients. So I've got half an onion there which I've diced up finely. I'm using 40 grams there of cheese. You can use more if you want, but I'm going to limit it to 40 grams of cheese. 1 large tin of baked beans. Hey, this is a budget brown bean. Now for the spices that I'm using, I've got about half a tablespoonful there of black pepper and salt, 2 cloves of garlic minced up, 3 tablespoonfuls there of a barbecue sauce, and I've got 2 teaspoons there of a smoked paprika. Yeah, I'm using smoked paprika. That with a barbecue sauce will give it a nice barbecuey flavour. I'm going to use 1 tomato. This is optional. This is what I've got left in the garden. So I'm using 1 tomato just to put on top of the potatoes when I'm cooking it. Again, that is purely optional. I haven't included that in the budget because it's free and came out of the garden. Anyway, let's get over the cooker and let's start see what we're cooking up this sausage and bean pie, also known as a cowboy pie. Let's go. Yeehaw! So I've got the potatoes on the oven cooking. There we water and cooking them off. Ready for putting on top and mashing up. This pan I've got a little bit of oil. And get that warmed up. I'm actually using lard, so I'm cooking sausages. I'm going to be using lard to give it a slightly better flavour. So we're just going to fry off these onions with the lard here. You don't have to use lard if you don't want, but because I'm cooking the sausages, I think lard's just going to give them a slightly better flavour than things like olive oil and the like. So now I'm just going to fry those off for about 8 to 10 minutes, they're nice and soft. So when the onions are just starting to get a little bit brown, now I'm going to put in your sliced up sausage. Now I just need to do the sausage until that browns off on all sides. And also at this stage going to add the garlic. So mix that up. And now I need to cut that so that sausage pieces brown on both sides. Right, so cook that till them sausages get a nice bit of colour on them. And what you need to do now is just pour in your beans. Nicely mix that together. At this point we're going to add in the salt, pepper, barbecue sauce and your smoked paprika. Now give that a good stir in and mix that up. And bring it all together. Oh, it certainly smells nice and barbecue, it certainly smells nice. Bring that all together now. And that is basically the first part of it. So what we now do, now you need to transfer that to your dish. Now this has got to go in the oven once it's done. You can put it under the grill if you want, but I'm putting mine in the oven. I think 200 centigrade, 400 Fahrenheit, gas mark 6, about 30-35 minutes until the top is all nice and crispy. So basically that's the dish I'm using. So that's the bean mixture into the dish. All we need to do now is just wait for the potatoes, mashed potatoes with a bit of milk and butter. Now you can put cream in there, you can put as much butter as you want, but I'm putting minimum because I'm keeping it to a budget. But that's the next stage. We come back when that's ready to top. There we go, mashed potato on top. So you can even jazz the mashed potato, put garlic in, do whatever you want, a bit of mustard powder potato. This is the budget one, so basically it's just plain mashed potato with a little bit of butter and milk. Sprinkle cheese on top. So you can even cut down the amount of cheese. So this is 40 grams. Here we go. Cheese on top. So I'm going to put a tomato on top, only because these are in the garden, completely free. I'm just putting a few little tomatoes on top like that one. You can fill it up if you want tomatoes, but anyway, that goes in the oven now. 200 centigrade, 400 Fahrenheit and gas mark 6 for about 30-35 minutes until the top is all nice and crispy and that cheese is melted. So we come back when it's ready to dish up. Here we go, 30 minutes in the oven and that is looking nice and crispy at the top. So let's get this on a plate and see what it tastes like. Just cut around the edge. Okay, this is for 2 people, but looking at that I think we'll get 3 out of this, but if you want to be a bit stingy again. Anyway, so let's pull this to one side. Stop us getting burnt, plate there. And there we go. Oh, it certainly smells nice. Get a bit of the filling there. Oh, let's let that cool down a bit. I'll let that cool down before we actually try, because it's steaming at the moment. Right, so let's cool down a little bit, so let's just give it a try. A little bit of sausage and bean there, let's see what it tastes like. Okay, it looks like it's cooked okay. A slight hint of garlic. You can certainly taste that smoked paprika with that barbecue sauce as well. That is a nice sort of barbecuey flavour, them sausage and beans there. That is nice. But I can't imagine any kid not liking this, but potatoes are nice and light and fluffy. Yeah, that actually is a nice dish, a nice budget meal. Now like I said, I reckon if you're a bit less of a portion, you can actually get 3 out of that dish. So therefore you're talking about 50p a portion, which is quite a very budget friendly meal. I mean, otherwise you're talking about 75p per portion, which I think this day and age is certainly going to help in the old pocket anyway. So that's another dish done and dusted. Another dish done and dusted. One sausage bean pie, also known as a cowboy pie, or as I named it, a bovine person pie. Anyway, enough of that silliness. But a bit more, a bit of sausage and bean. I'd happily cook this again. I'm going to say cheap, if I say cheerful, but a nice cheap meal. I mean, most of my kids like, or used to, now I've flown the nest now, like sausages and beans and mashed potato. You can't go far wrong. Again, another dish is pretty pleasing. I'm going to finish that off my dinner in a minute. Anyway, hope you did like that one. Please give it a try. It was jazz it up a little bit. Put posh sausages in there, a bit of garlic in the mashed potato. Increases the budget, but it must taste even better than that. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed it again. Please do like, subscribe, thumbs up if you do appreciate this type of cooking. I do appreciate you watching. Anyway, again, thanks for watching. Look after yourselves, be kind to one another, and I'll catch you on the next video, whenever that may be. Take care. Howdy, partner.